Maybe I should sit at the end where don't get a side view of me. I don't take a good picture from the
As
side
you
view,
wish.
that's
You
for
like
sure.
that?
Okay.
We
as
can
you-
both sit here.
Okay, nice.
I won't interfere with you.
No, I don't want to interfere with you.
No, no.
It's be a bit three-cornered. I'll guide through but you can speak to the camera. You don't need to speak to me. Probably speak to the camera if you want a front-on
Well, I don't know.
view.
Just
You better not picture me at all as far as I go.
Well, it's your choice, but
I
it's
tried
just,
that line, but they wouldn't.
No.
Didn't accept that.
It's
eh?
the words that are important.
You're beautiful.
Well, you can't look for everything when you get to my age.
Well, you
Put it that way.
You're overly modest.
Okay. So what is your name?
Wilma Sinclair.
Second name?
Anna.
Anna. And what is your age?
Well, in another month I'll be 84,
Wow.
if I make it that far.
Right. Where are you living now, Wilma?
On Lot 2, 8th line, Erin.
Did you ever live down on this Fallbrook farm or know people who lived there?
I never lived there, but my aunt married Sandy McKay in 1933,
And your aunt being,
a sister of my mother's,
her name?
Agnes
Cole.
Cole.
Okay, so we're together on several fronts here.
Yes. Uh-huh.
You would have visited there sometimes with
Oh,
Sandy
yes,
and Aggie?
For summer holidays, my brother and I, Gordon, usually spent a few days there.
Any memory of that place?
Oh, yeah, lots of memories going out to the commons to play ball and
Oh, yeah.
The commons being
across the
field, the big field.
across from that little field. There was a little field in front of the house, and then there was the road went around there, and it was the other side of the road. That was over in the commons.
Oh, okay. I see.
And Nell had made with twigs and stuff, she'd made a kind of an enclosure and kind of a picnic
Oh,
table and that in there.
I don't remember that at all.
You didn't remember that?
Very
no?
interesting. My dad used to play ball up in the Linden up
Oh,
towards
yes, right.
Menominee.
Huh?
So Nell was a sister of Sandy's?
Yeah, she was the older one.
And
I don't know whether
Kate
she
was there sometimes
Oh,
too?
yes, oh, yes. I don't know whether your grandmother, Mary, or whether she was older than Nell.
I'd have to look it up.
Yeah, I'm not positive about
I don't
that.
think so. I think
You
Kate and Nell were
You think they were maybe both older
maybe older.
than her?
These are McKay sisters who never married and who went to, eventually, when Aggie came, I think they went to Georgetown.
Charles Street in Georgetown,
Yeah.
out by the park.
Uh-huh. So when you were visiting down there, that would be getting on towards the time when they were going to sell up the farm. They sold in 43.
They sold in 43. I think I can just remember maybe about 3 different summers that would be maybe maybe 38. Oh no, not that late. I think the last time I was there I was 12 years old maybe.
Okay.
So it would be
The late 30s.
yeah, I guess
Yeah.
you'd say that.
I was there in the early 40s, I guess.
Mhm.
Can you say a bit more about your family in the area, the Coles and the Kirkwoods?
Well,
How they came there, or where they settled, or?
yeah, I have that here about the Kirkwoods when Robert, my grandfather, oh, well, no, I should start before that. William married Ellen Oliver. That were my great-grandparents, and they settled on Lot 4, Erin Township. They had 3 children. Robert, my grandfather, he married Martha Ann McHenry, and Margaret married Joseph Shortle, and they were the grandparents of F.J. Shortle.
Wow.
And William married Annie Stauffer, and they lived at Creemore, and later at Stainer. He was a stonemason.
You'll get to interview one or two of the children of F.J. Shortle somewhere in this process.
And my great-grandfather died when my grandfather was 5 years old. So my great-grandmother, she married Sinclair, I don't know whether his name was John, I believe, across the road. And when they didn't have any children. And when she died, when my grandfather was just 14 or 15.
Wow.
So I think he and my grandmother married fairly young, like, because that was the early beginning there.
Like we're sort of pushing the Scots line.
Yeah.
Working for the
And then you see
the Kirkwoods certainly were Scots. We also talked about that early history.
And then my
On your mother's side?
on my mother's side.
The Coles?
Well, she was the Cole family lived on the 6th line. That's where F.J. later went over there to live. You remember the place?
Yeah.
I think when the three older ones of my mother's family, they were born there. My great-grandmother, her mother, had died. They lived over on the 10th line. She died, and he wanted them to come and live with him on the 10th line.
Yeah.
Well, my grandfather had it was a good farm over there. He was quite reluctant, I think, to leave, but he knew that my grandmother wanted to go and look after her father. And so they went.
Okay.
And then the rest of the family were born over there. Well, then when the youngest child was born, she died about a week after that child was born. My mother was only 4 years old at the time. And his parents raised that baby, his mother and sister took the baby to raise, and when she was a year old, he thought they should really bring her home and have her brought up with the rest of the family. They brought her home, and a month later she took pneumonia and died. So he had a hard time, really.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he raised the family on his own. He never remarried. He raised them on his own and worked the farm. It wasn't a real good farm because it was clay hills over there. And he went out, he worked out some too as they got older. Anyway, they had to stay there until my youngest aunt was 21, because the place was left to the mother, you see.
I see.
So they had to, and so then when she became 21, they sold, and he went back over the 6th line and they built the new house over there.
I see.
But by that time, you see, Aunt Annie McLean, they were married. And Mother got married that fall that they sold down there. So that was their early beginnings, you see.
Do you know the origin of the Coles? Was it UK or
No,
England?
I believe they came from England, maybe.
Yeah.
Now, there's a history of them somewhere, and I don't know who has it.
Okay.
I don't know.
Well, we're hating the English in this group.
Oh,
We're promoting
well
the
then.
Scots.
Oh, well then, we won't mention that.
No, we just hate
Don't-
aristocratic.
Don't take that off the.
Yeah.
Aristocratic.
Take that off
But the Reeds were from Ireland.
Okay, that's
Like the Kirkwoods came in 1820. The Reeds came in 1840, I believe, from Ireland.
okay. Well, yes, the
The Irish are okay.
Yeah, the Irish, I was thinking
they're,
together.
they're parts. They're
So
part,
I figure
they're
I'm
part
part,
Celt anyway.
part Scottish and part Irish, so
Yeah.
a little
Okay.
both there.
What about the your mother, Minnie? What's her
Yes.
name? What was
Mary
that?
Margaret.
Okay, it wasn't short for Wilhelmina or anything.
No, it was
That
Mary Margaret.
Mary Margaret.
Mhm.
So
And I know Garnet had an aunt that was Mary Margaret, and they called her Minnie too.
I see.
So it must have been what they did back then.
Well, how did, I guess it was a question of marrying close neighbors. That seemed to be
pretty
the-
much. They
the
didn't
pattern.
go. They couldn't travel too far. So
No.
Your father John and Minnie, where would they have met or got to know each other? Would they be in school together? Or?
No, they never went to school together. Mother went to Clay Hill School, and Dad went to number 1 school.
Okay.
Uh,
They must have gone to house dances or house parties.
Possibly.
Yeah.
Possibly. It could have been.
For the
Right.
back 40?
No, I can't tell you, actually. I don't
Okay.
think I ever heard them really say exactly.
Anyway, you're speaking about being English and Scottish and so on. Do you have any feelings about those connections? Do they matter much to us anymore? Do you go to all the big Scots celebrations that are around, or?
I don't go to them, but I certainly value our early beginnings because we were one of the first things that all these people did after they got settled in was start a church of some kind.
Yeah,
And all these families they have.
that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, mostly Presbyterian.
Mostly, yeah,
Mostly, yeah.
mostly.
And even the Church of Scotland, I think, was around at some point. But
Mhm.
anyway, what about your marriage? Who was your husband, and how did you meet him?
Garnet Sinclair and we knew one another all our life, I guess.
I see.
Not, we didn't see that much of one another in early years, I guess, but
Mhm. How old were you when you married?
I was 28 and Garnet was 30.
I see. So you were experienced. You were
Oh,
mature.
we've been around a little before then, I guess.
Okay.
Good.
Huh?
What was his family connection? Where were the Sinklers from? Do you have much knowledge
Well,
of that?
they were around the area. Now, he never thought that he was much relation to Norm.
No.
There was some relation, but he never had it figured out.
Right.
He was always said he was more related to Alma because she was her grandfather McHenry,
McHenry, yeah.
and Garnet's grandmother Sinclair was his sister.
Okay.
Both
Yeah.
grandparents were.
I have that
Brother
all
and
on the
sister.
chart here.
Yeah.
But I don't have it in my head.
Huh?
Mhm. What about your children? What children did you have, Wilma?
Lauren and Lynn.
Are they still living around?
Well, Lynn is. Lauren, the present time, he's down at Peterborough. Comes home on weekends.
What work does he do?
Oh, he's a house builder.
Mm,
Good. He's a
seems to
carpenter.
be
Yep.
seems to be in the Mackay Kirkwood tradition
He
too.
likes to think that came from the great grandfather. Did your dad ever think that? Like they'd be his grandfather. He worked at,
Robert?
yeah, he did a lot of cabinet making, and we had furniture in the house that he made.
I see.
Oh yes.
Well,
Maybe
there's
so.
something there, yes.
Oh yes.
My dad
So
was-
Lauren kind of likes to.
Yeah.
He likes to
Yeah,
think that
it
it
comes
came
down.
from back there. I
He's
don't
quite
know.
a finished worker, I think. The
Uh-huh.
work that he gets, isn't it?
Yeah, anything
Yeah.
he did, he was
Yeah.
quite particular about, I think.
Mm.
The carpentry skills went from through William Mackay to Bill Mackay.
Oh yes.
Bill
Yeah.
Mackay's a
That's
carpenter.
right. Yeah.
Yes. Well, then you see, maybe your dad got it a couple ways.
He got it in Portage La Prairie from the
Mhm.
McKay connection out there. I think.
Mhm.
What,
Some of the Sinklers were Garnet's grandfathers, brothers, were they kind of professed to be carpenters, but I think it was pretty rough carpentry. But they did.
Yeah, I can understand that. That's
what
what I
was
do.
What was Ballinafad to you when you were living up there in the tents line and so on, and then when you married, I guess you moved closer. Was in your early days, was Ballinafad a center for you, or you
No,
mostly went to Erin, or?
Well, when your dad started the mill, then it was kind of a center for us. And my sister, Violet, she taught music over at Ballinafad every Saturday.
That's right. I used to
And
take lessons from her.
Yes, she taught quite a few lessons there and shopped in your dad's store quite
Yeah,
often on weekends.
yeah.
But we went to church in Erin, United Church in Erin, and that was our main shopping center, was Erin, because we took our cream and eggs there.
You were driving by car by then. You weren't going in a horse and buggy, were you, to Erin?
Well, we had to go on with the horse and cutter in the wintertime all the
wintertime.
time because the roads weren't plowed.
Yes, it's
Oh, is
true.
that right?
Oh yes, they never
Yeah.
started plowing them out in the country until I'd say the early 40s.
Really?
Yeah, I can remember.
And
Going-
even this Ballinafad side road, when I was going to high school, it wasn't plowed. They'd have to meet me at the 7th line. Like we had a girl from Rockwood that was teaching in our school and boarded at our house. And they'd bring her out to the 7th line. Her dad would have picked me up in Acton and brought me out that far in the truck. And then we'd meet them there with the horses. And
Every day?
no, this was just on weekends.
This
Oh, to
was-
go home on
Oh, we
weekends.
had to go home
this
on
was
weekends.
from high school. Eh?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I did the same in Georgetown.
Yeah.
I stayed with Aunt Kate or
Yes.
Aunt Nell
Yes.
or Grandma Kirkwood.
Yes. I remember that.
And did my music lessons on Nell's piano and
Mm-hmm.
etc. So summertime I would cycle. In spring and fall I would be cycling down to Georgetown every day.
Kids today don't know they're living, do they?
Oh,
No, they don't. That's no.
Things
That's
are
why
going to the dogs, isn't that the standard line?
this is why we want to.
Aaron
make sure
doesn't
that you
agree,
tell
of
us what
course.
it was like.
I grew up on a farm.
Did
Yes.
you? Oh well, you qualified.
So I can remember this was in 41 at Easter time. They hadn't plowed the Ballinafad side road out all winter. They plowed it out when we came home for Easter weekend. It was plowed out. Came a great big storm in Easter week. We had to go back through the
filled it all
fields
in
to
again.
get to Ballinafad
That's right.
again to go back
Really?
to school. And
I used
after
to
Easter.
take down the fence and
Oh yes.
drive through the field.
Yes.
Oh, is that right?
Oh,
Yeah, because
same way going to here, and we had to go through the fields all the time.
In a car?
Yeah.
well, not
No
then.
cars.
It would
Oh, no,
be
in a horse and
You
buggy?
didn't, you
Horse and
didn't
buggy
get out
then.
in the car till about May
Yeah,
Really?
because
That's
all the
right.
roads
Explain-
were so muddy by the time all that snow
Yeah,
got thawed.
that's
and-
right.
Jeepers.
Yeah.
Don't think it.
Oh, you haven't much idea. I can remember we always tried to get out for Christmas with the car. Come New Year's
Oh
time,
yeah.
that was, you never did.
Oh, because of the snow is
Yeah.
settled in.
Got too much by then.
What
But
is
you
it?
could always go on a horse and cutter to a party in the next farm.
Oh.
Life didn't stop.